Welcome to Bennett's Bike Social, welcome to Southern Spain, welcome to the launch of BMW's M1000 XR. It looks like it's doing 200 miles an hour and it stood still. This is 200 horsepower of sports touring. It's complete and utter madness on the spec sheet. But there's only one way to find out, and that's to put some miles on it. So this afternoon, we've got Southern Spain, we've got some amazing roads, we've got some good friends, some fast lead riders. Let's see if it lives up to the hype. Now this is the third model to join the exclusive M range. We've got the M1000RR that I rode in Mugello last year, and the M1000R that we rode here in Southern Spain. Couple of laps of Almeria, if I remember rightly, and some lovely mountain roads around it. Now the M1000XR joins that range, and as it supports that M badge, it's got some exclusivity, and obviously BMW have just pumped it full of steroids. So we're round nearest damn it 200 horsepower in a crossover sports tourer, which makes it arguably the most powerful bike in this category. It gets a little bit fickle because you could join Kawasaki's supercharged sports tourer into this category. But in terms of crossover sports tourers, this is the daddy. It out-trumps Ducati's RS, which I rode in Modena a couple of months ago. This is the daddy when it comes to this class. And we've had the opportunity to ride the bike here in Malaga on some lovely roads in perfect conditions. It's kind of strange when you first get on the bike because it is quite intimidating. It does look aggressive. It's got more winglets and more aerodynamic downforce than any other bike in this range. It is a big bike, it's got a lot of winglets and it's got a lot of carbon. This has got the full carbon package. But the winglets is 12 kilograms of downforce at 220 kilometers an hour. It is quite an intimidating bike, and as I said, we've got 200 horsepower. But what's really strange is when you leave the hotel in the standard road mode, it's not a peaky superbike. It's really easy to ride. I could give this bike to my dad, who's 83, and he could ride it to the shops and fetch some milk and come back, and he'd never know it had a superbike underneath it. But then when you get out onto the open road, boy does it deliver. This has got some real power. On the freeway, I can't actually say what speeds we were doing, but let's just say it was breathtaking, as you'd expect from a 200 bhp bike. But when you ride a 200 bhp superbike, you expect it to be fast, where with this you kind of don't, and it's comfortable. You've got a bit of wind protection, you've got heated grips, you've got cruise control, you've got a screen that's adjustable, you've got a really clear dash. It's quite roomy and you're sat upright, just enjoying the high speed. So I've kind of got it in the race dash, just because I kind of like it, no reason apart from that. And I've got it in the Race Pro 1, so I can play about with the rider aids and traction. So I've got the anti-wheelie switched off for obvious reasons. I really turned down the TC. Full power, but it's not aggressive full power, even though it's 200 brake horsepower. That sounds stupid in itself, I know. There's a lovely burble on the overrun. I think the M did that as well, as in the naked version. It's like a lovely bom bom bom. It does sound, I mean, it's probably not coming over on the, oh there it was, on the GoPro, but it does sound good. And this is not an illegal pipe, this is, it's an Acropovic, but it's, I believe this is road legal. I mean, you have to question who wants a 200 horsepower sports touring crossover. Me. On the motorway, on a closed motorway, obviously for legal reasons, this was reading 250, 260 kilometers, which is what, 140, 150 mile an hour. This is a comfortable 150 mile an hour bike. I mean, that's just a what? 150 mile an hour comfortable bike. The only weird bit is when they've saved weights, they've taken all the bracketry off the rear, so you can no longer fit panniers. Who wants to fit panniers to 150 mile an hour tour? I don't know. But the competition to this is Ducati's RS that runs a Panigale engine, which is 180 horsepower. And that has the capability of taking panniers. Might be a little bit minor, but worth a mention. But in terms of top trumps, this does have the Ducati beaten. This is a bike on the motorway and on fast roads that you're not crossing Europe in days, you're crossing Europe in hours. You're going from country to country at breathtaking speed. In some ways, it kind of reminds me of the old Hayabusa ZZR kind of 1400 days when you had this severe horsepower and severe way of getting across Europe from one end to the other with unbelievable top speed. But this is way more comfier than any of those bikes ever were, and it's riddled with rider aids. So you've got cornering traction control, you've got cornering ABS, we've got anti-wheelie, we've got launch control, we've got every method of riding aid imaginable. In the standard road mode, you have electronic suspension. The electronic suspension does compression and rebound front and rear. Preload is manually adjustable, unlike the standard XR where everything is semi-active. The reason for that is when you take this bike to the racetrack, you can change the preload manually. When you go into dynamic, obviously the rider aids change, the power characteristics change, and also that compression and rebound changes. But when you go into the race pro modes, the suspension stays fixed. So it's more like a conventional bike where you change the suspension, but you change it electronically rather than getting your hands dirty. And preload, you do as you would conventionally. And the idea is that you could take a bike to a track, set the suspension, and it won't change as you're cutting in some fast laps. Which does sound a little crazy that you're going to be cutting in some fast laps on a bike that you can go touring on, but this is more than capable. This is more than capable of cutting up some fast laps. And more than capable of doing that at tracks like Silverstone or Mugello that are fast. This is a fast bike. The conditions here in Malaga have been beautiful and sunny, and the roads have been great, and the scenery has been stunning, but they just really haven't matched the bike. We've had a few corners that have been dusty, and it just given me the confidence to just really bury this bike on its ear. It does, when you're riding it on these type of roads, kind of feels friendly, but whoa, slide. It does kind of feel you're trying to drive a NASCAR around Tesco. And now I'm in the road mode, the suspension is softer and reacting differently. So when you're in road, rain and dynamic, that changes the suspension. So the compression and rebound become active. Preload is stationary, it's the same all the time. And it also changes obviously the algorithms for all the various engine braking strategies, traction control, anti-wheelie and every other possible engine configuration and traction control method you can think of. I guess most people are just going to ride it in the standard road mode, and when you're hitting all these little rubber bandy bits, it's quite nice to have a little bit of rider aids in the background just helping you out, because it doesn't like those rubber bits. I'd hate to ride this road in the wet. I spoke to Hickman, who rode the bike at the TT. He paraded the bike last year and he was blown away by it, and I can see that. Flying over the mountain at 160, 170 mile an hour, it must feel absolutely unreal. But here on the tight and twisty turns of Malaga, the standard Bridgestones weren't really up for the challenge. It'll be interesting when we test this bike again, because I'd love to get it back in the UK, or even better, get it to Germany, get it on the Autobahn, get it to the Nürburgring, really let it to stretch its cable. Really stretch the cable, allow it to stretch its legs, and really enjoy that performance. In terms of downsides, I put some pictures on social media. Some people love it, some people don't. In terms of price, it is expensive. So we're starting at 22,580, but this has got more packages. It's got the carbon wheels, and that pushes the price to 27,650. That is an expensive bike. However, it is cheaper than the competition, which comes from Ducati, that is over 30 grand. Another downside is BMW have taken off all the components to fit the hard luggage, so you can't actually fit any hard luggage to this bike. That saves weight, but it means you can't put the panniers or the top box on the back. Do you need panniers and top box on a bike that does 170, maybe 180 miles an hour? That's questionable. But they are labelling it as a sports tourer, so it's a sports tourer without luggage. That's up for question. It'll be interesting to see your comments below. But in terms of what BMW have done, they've added to the M range, they've just produced something that's quite phenomenal. They kind of didn't really need to do it, and I don't think anybody rode the standard bike and said I could really do with another 30 horsepower. But I just like the fact they have done it. It is completely barking mad. It is possibly the fastest way to get from A to B in the most comfort. I can't think of another bike that can cut across Europe with such speed and such ease, yet you could still pull it out your garage and go to the shops to buy milk on. That is an impressive bike.